Whew.
What's good, bro?
Sorry we're late, folks. Sorry we are
Ladies
late.
and gentlemen, welcome to Random Thoughts with the Rev, the Dude Network's Thursday night show. Let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Let's get that over with.
Mm-hmm. The best Willow seasonings and blends. Vet owned, Colorado, delicious. I love it. Use John Z 2022.
So natural you'll think it's the 70s.
Absolutely.
Veteran owned and operated. Brother David, he's a Navy guy, but we're gonna let that slide.
We love him. We love him.
We do love Dave. He's a great dude. Got some great spices, great seasoning blends, great sauces.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a try. Good stuff.
Absolutely. Hey, wait a minute here. There it is.
What are you doing?
The ticker wasn't going, and I clicked it on. Oh, okay. Here we go. Toxic Snipes says hi.
Hi, Toxic Snipes.
TK Presnell. I'm not good with names. I apologize.
Sorry, we're butchering your name. What's good, Damon?
Damon says what's up, and
good old Robert.
Our boy Robert's here. You already know that.
What's good, man?
Good.
So tonight, this very special episode of Random Thoughts with the Rev, Brother John.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very special guest, Mr. Miguel Puentes, mental health care worker here in the great state of Arizona. The taco shack aficionado, more like a sommelier, really, of taco shacks here in Arizona. We will be bringing up EG's because it's amazing, and my wife hates me for saying this because it's her favorite place on the planet, and she doesn't get to go because we live here.
That's awesome.
And the forebear, one of the founders of the Big Nasty crew, Big Nasty himself, ladies and gentlemen.
Boy. Here he is.
What's up, people?
Oh!
I had to make an entrance. I had to make an entrance.
Probably the biggest one on the Dude Network yet.
What's going on, guys?
That's the best entrance we've had yet, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me on here, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you accepting the invite, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know we've been talking about it for a minute, but man, my life's just been busy lately, so.
Yeah, same. It's life, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Life on life's terms.
Absolutely.
Yep. Amen to that.
So, let's talk about your career for a little bit. Let's start off with that because I know we talked about that a little bit before the show. And so you work in mental health here in the great state of Arizona.
Yeah, I got into mental health probably 2011, right in 2011.
Nice.
Started at the bottom. I mean, came in as a peer support, helping people out, going through the same stuff I've been through in life.
Mm-hmm.
And just giving back to the community. I've done some shady stuff in the past. I've got my own past, but I try to utilize what I lived through and what I've endured to help people out on the streets. You know what I mean? So,
that's kind of a thing in my world, man. I actually, when I got sober, was 2011, February 23rd, 2011. So that's weird.
Yeah.
But being in the service, being in recovery, sponsor guys on occasion, and being in the service, coping and dealing with PTSD and things of that nature. We kind of touched on this with one of our other guests who was in the service also. But just being able to reach out and talk to people,
Mm-hmm.
Pulling from those experiences in life that we've had, because some of us have definitely lived some interesting life experiences, to say the least.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
When I started on this, I was doing. I worked in Casa Grande, Arizona. That's where I got my start at. And if anybody knows Arizona, that's the central hub of everything that goes on in this area, in this state, I should say. So I did 9 years up there in Casa Grande, and then 3 years ago, I got the offer to come down here to southern Arizona, to the Sierra Vista area. I work out of Benson, and I cover basically 3/4 of the county, and Cochise County is a big county.
Yeah, it's not small. You know, the interesting thing is you get to see some beautiful stuff, man. I know you've posted a couple of videos out in Cochise County where you get to see some of the great scenery, which is, it's kind of a weird thing, understanding like what you do for a living.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
well,
being
like
able
I
to
said,
see some of the great.
My active role right now is I'm a crisis specialist.
Okay.
So I go out in the field and I see the worst of the worst. I mean, yeah, there's sometimes it's a cakewalk, but there's sometimes the regulars. But you know, there's some pretty traumatic stuff that I got to see. Like I did send a video out the other day of the Cochise Stronghold area, and it's beautiful, beautiful country. You know, I mean, anybody interested, go check it out. My videos are always up. But those are the kind of places you want to visit in the daytime.
Yeah.
You don't want to go there at night. It's kind of like the hills got eyes kind of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, but we do it. I mean, we're a 24-hour, 7-day a week, 365 days a year operation. You know what I mean? So we take individual vacations, but we got a team of amazing therapists, master's degree therapists, counselors. You know, my team is just amazing. I'm blessed.
Yeah. I see that's good. I promised you that I would tell my one mental hospital story. So
the one.
I only have one.
Oh wow.
And so about like 15, 20 years ago, here up in northern Arizona, we had one facility. And it housed both the mental health care aspect of it and the rehab side of it, the recovery section, right? And all it was separated into 2 units is a big metal door. Mm-hmm. And I knew this because back then I got sentenced to court-ordered rehab, right? Because I got busted for like drunk in public like 90 times in like 2 months. It was kind of ridiculous. So opposed to putting me in jail, they went, "You're going to go to court-ordered rehab." And I went, "Yeah, whatever." But they didn't tell me at the time that for you to detox here in northern Arizona, you have to be in a mental facility. Because that's the only place that had
is equipped to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's medical detox.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because I was like, you know, Hunter S. Thompson.
Not that I know anything about that.
Like, you know, whatever you'd have, I'd take and didn't care all that much what it did, you know?
Yeah, sure.
So I'd do the medical detox.
I just can have some more.
So for like 14 days, there was me and this other dude named Jack, and we were roommates, and we were on the medical detox before they'd shuffle us through the door. Mm-hmm. And there were some interesting people.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. This is a shout out to our guest, Unsung Hero episode. Awesome. Thank you, Nasty. That's from our buddy Robert.
Thank you.
I'll tell you this: when you're detoxing off of whatever,
sure,
you can feel like the fucking world turning.
Yeah,
like the first time in
slow that shit down, please. Slow it down. Slow it down.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, most of the time when you go into detox, you're having to hold on to the grass because you feel like you're floating anyways.
Yeah.
You're floating off the air.
Dude, I showed up to rehab drinking a 40 and like smoking a blunt because like I got to do something before I walk through this door, you know. But the last thing you want, the first time you're sober and clear-eyed and coming out of that fog and shit, feeling the world turn for the first time, and being locked in a mental institution with legitimate, like, unhinged individuals.
Oh, man.
Like, people, like, are seeing Jesus and talking to him and shit, you know? Like...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's my one mental... I spent 14 days of detox in the psych ward here before they shoved me through the big metal door.
Well, one of my things is when I hit the streets down here for the crisis, when I was doing outpatient as a case manager, it was a different world because I was doing court-ordered stuff. So it was see people, go to court. See people, go to court. Yeah. Well, my first trip to court, okay, I'm just putting it out there. I'm an ex-convict who changed my life, but I utilized, like I said, my life, my history. But here I am thinking, okay, I am voluntarily walking into a courtroom.
Without
No
handcuffs
bracelets.
on.
No bracelets.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the weirdest things for me. Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of my weirdest experiences the first time was doing electrical in the jail for the sheriff. That was very interesting.
Oh, I bet.
Like them walking me through, like making sure everything was safe for me. I'm like, oh man. Like I remember.
Were you waiting for them to sit search you?
Right? Yeah. I'm like, I remember it's like to be behind that door.
You know, it's funny you bring up our illustrious past, because we both kind of have that in our past. But there's something that's a dead giveaway for guys like us that nobody realizes.
What's that?
It's the hands. So, like, not just the tattoos, but what we do with them. Because you ever notice you can always see our hands?
Yeah, you're always doing something with.
I don't know what to do.
There's a reason for that. Because when you're in, it shows your homies that, like, you ain't up to something, you know?
Well, at the same time, you can't tell your business from cell to cell. So you're like,
yeah.
And your homie's going, and he knows what you just said. Nobody else does.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So if you watch, you ever seen The Sopranos?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a character named Paulie Walnuts, right?
Yeah, Walnuts.
He was a legit gangster back in like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
And spent time in prison. So if you watch the show, he does the same shit that we do because of that.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, so I love what I do. I love what I do, so I'm just gonna continue doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
And that's one of those things, being able to give back, especially when you look back at the past. And like, I know for me personally, like the shit that happened for like 20, 30 years, give or take, and being able to look back and go, all right, so I've kind of balanced the scales, and now I get to do good, you know, helping out the brother.
When I applied for my first job, it took the guy that, like, what was it, 2.5 weeks to call me and tell me yes or no if I passed my background test. And I said, well, you know, not being mean, but what took so long? You know what I mean? He says, bro, most background sheets are 3, 4, maybe 5 pages. I said, and? Yeah. He says, yours was 13.5 pages. I was like, I was busy.
Like, like, don't you know who you are?
I didn't stay at home a lot, right?
Didn't have cable, so I had to do something.
Yeah, a lot of late nights, a lot of weekends.
We got a friend of Big Nasty's on, Robert Ferkel.
Brother
Big
Bob.
Nasty, it's Brother Bob.
What's going on, Brother Bob?
It's good,
man.
Oh,
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob.
Oh, he said Brother Bob.
Oh, well.
Same
you know him as Uncle Bob. Hey, Uncle Bob.
I mean, from the TikTok land to this land, it's a whole different world.
Whole different ball game, brother.
Right, yeah.
Speaking of TikTok, so you're Big Nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Big Nasty crew. Right?
Yep.
So what started that? How's that work?
What, you know,
a little insight.
I started TikTok in June of 2019. I was just a watcher. You know what I mean? I was just in it to watch people and see the kind of shenanigans they were doing.
Sure.
I tried some of those dances, but I just couldn't get it. You know, I'm not a dancer. So
that hurts my back watching those, dude.
That's awesome.
So like I said, I just watched them periodically, and then 2020, I went down in October with COVID, and I almost died. I mean, I was medically induced into coma for 13.5 days. I was ventilated for 17 days.
Holy cow.
They contacted my family and said, you know, what do you want to do? You know, do we
start making arrangements?
Make arrangements, and you know, my family, my daughter, my amazing daughter, she was like, yeah, I don't know what he'd want to do, so let's just keep him alive. You know what I mean? Just let's not. You know, there was some things. I mean, and then, like I said, I was on FMLA for a while, and that's when I started doing the slideshows at first, and then I'm gonna try some videos, and before you knew it, I was TikToking, doing duets, and somebody came up to me and said, hey man, you know, you got a positive vibe, you know, you got leadership qualities, let's start a crew. And I'm like, I don't know, you know what I mean? So that's how it started, you know what I mean? It started like January of 2021
Wow.
with like 3 or 4 people, and I think last count was 86 people on the crew.
International, you got a couple brothers overseas.
Yeah, we're international.
Awesome.
We're in Canada. We're in Mexico. We're in the UK.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get out there, you know what I mean, and it's all positivity.
Yeah.
You know, TikTok's got a lot of trolls on the accounts, and
that's the understatement of the century.
Yeah.
So there've been some people on the crew that would go after them, chase them, you know what I mean, and like hunt them down, and I'm gonna be a bully to a bully, whatever.
Yeah,
that's not what my crew's about. You know what I mean? We're all positivity, shenanigans, tomfoolery.
Yes, sir.
Romance.
Yes.
Romance. You know what I mean? I met my lady through the crew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So I got
we're just all positive.
I got an interesting question about you and Ms. Ginger, right? So
talk to me.
So if you can't tell by the background, Big Nasty's favorite football team happens to be Notre Dame. So you got to go to the stadium, right?
Yeah, my babe. When we got together February of 2021, and by May we did the whole breaking the distance thing, and we met up for the first time. So you know, I took a week's vacation. I flew to Chicago. We went to Indianapolis, met a couple other of the crew that were in Indianapolis. And then she's like, "I got a surprise for you." I'm like, "What's that?" She's like, "We're gonna go to the university." And I was like, "Shut up," you know what I mean? But yeah, she took me to my number one place on the bucket list.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the best thing in the world. I mean, I've been blessed. The woman, she's amazing. Rev knows she
does a great job of keeping you honest.
That's important.
Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? There's 1,800 miles between us right now, and everybody keeps asking me, "When are you moving to Indiana?" So I just had a grandson down here, and she just had a granddaughter up there. So we're not, and it's one of those things. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're good.
For those of you, whoever hasn't been able to see it, there's a great video that Big Nasty posted of the first time they got to meet in the airport. But the way the airport's set up, he had to schlep like 3 miles of friggin' terminal to get there.
Oh, bro.
If any of you guys have ever been to O'Hare Airport.
Was it in Dallas?
Yeah.
No, it was O'Hare in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
That's like 9 miles of tarmac and
Dude, yeah.
Lots of hoofing it, yeah.
And like they have those speed strip walkways where you just have to stand still and it pushes you quicker and it doesn't even help.
No, O'Hare don't have that. It's all walk.
Oh, Dallas has these little strips of that Dallas Fort Worth, but it don't
so
help.
it's like JFK and LAX, but O'Hare is never.
Sky Harbor has it too. I look forward to those when I see them. I'm like, yes.
Not in Chicago, man. You're huffing it the whole way.
Oh man,
And
Chicago, what are you doing, Chicago? Get it together.
Well, the thing of it is halfway through the terminals, they had some of it closed, so you had to loop around.
Oh,
and it was even more mileage to it.
Yeah.
No. I got to the video and I'm just sweating, bro. Just sweating.
Yeah. First time we get
and I made a joke. I said, "Look, guys," I said, "she saw me walk through the terminal. She said, 'This dude's fat. We're gonna make him sweat some of it off.'"
And it's great. He's huffing and puffing, fucking sweat pouring and shit.
And no, that was no bullshit on that. It was all for real sweat and out of air. And I thought I'm not asthmatic, but I thought I was.
You know, it's the first time you're huffing and puffing, sweating like that, not getting chased by the cops. Just saying.
I wouldn't know anything about.
What'd you say about cops?
Nothing.
Oh, they're here.
I don't know nothing opposite. He's with me the whole time, I swear.
But yeah, I mean, I'm blessed. Like I said, and then when I got introduced to Rev here, I mean, just to sit there and watch his cooking, his short. I call them shortcuts because I like the way he does it. He's to the point. Doesn't do all this mediocre stuff. You know what I mean? Just this is how you do it.
You know, that's one of the things, man. Like in my brain, so I've been in the restaurant industry for almost 30 years, right? There's a million like shortcuts and tips and tricks that are like industry standards, like we all know them, but nobody teaches that to anybody else. Like if you get a job at the restaurant, you can be a dishwasher, eventually be a prep cook, and then a line cook, and then you'll learn the mystical, magical ways of the restaurant industry. And that's kind of bullshit. Like, why not just share that with the rest of the world, man?
Yeah, I made it to help prepping in the restaurant and learned a couple of things, but that's it. That's why we have Rev around.
Dude, you have no idea. If you watch the Dude Network, Tony posted a bunch of videos about making fry bread. First time he's ever tried it. First time he's ever made it. And he did it on a live and then posted the videos and stuff, right? And I was in the chat like, don't do that. Better, right? Don't read that. Right? Use this. This is the better way to do
it. Just shoot him down. Bah, bah, bah.
Like, trust me, bro. This is gonna work better. Like you've had Naldo tacos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's like a thing.
Oh man.
That's like tamales. You're gonna find someone selling them.
Yeah. Let's not talk about tamales, please. I just made a shit ton of them.
Bro, I still have like 3 dozen of them
I'll
in the
send
freezer.
you my address.
Like not even joking.
They're gone, bro.
No.
I just barely sent my lady hers like 2 weeks late. And then she actually got them today, and she got them, and then I get a text message. You're in trouble. I said, damn, already? What'd I do?
Right.
And I'm like, what'd I do? She tells me $120 shipping to pay for them to get here. I said, hey, I had to overnight them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fresh as can be.
She's like, those are probably the most expensive tamales I've ever had. I said, no. Okay, cool. And I was like, look, please let her like them. Please let her like them.
They were made with love.
Yeah.
I gotta say. But yeah,
but like I told her, there's no expense I won't go out for her. You know what I mean? She's the same way with me. We do for each other like that way. And I just didn't think I'd get yelled at. I didn't know that the post office would snitch on me.
Of course they would. You talking about the government, bro?
Because I sent her a copy of the receipt with the tracking information.
And you thumb over that number, bro.
No, I scribbled it out real good, you know, so she wouldn't see it. But on her label, it was right there in front of the label, 119 something.
Terrible.
I was like,
hey.
Uncle Sam sticking it to you already.
Yeah.
Speaking of Uncle Sam, the Dude Network's Uncle Sam is right here in the background. Should we bring him in, Rev? The boss man?
Yeah, sure. We bring Tony in.
There he is.
What's going on, Tony? Nice to meet you.
What's up, man? Nice to meet you, man. I was sitting back just listening.
That was a horrible intro, man. I'm sorry.
That's all right, man.
You gotta let me handle the intros from now on, John.
You're right.
By the way, he's right on that fried bread.
Big Nasty, I'd like to introduce you to the whitest white man you'll ever meet in your life. The man, the myth, the legend.
Fact. We talked about this. That's pretty white.
Last year, we taught him how to make tortillas.
Mm-hmm.
Still refuses
I don't even do that.
He still refused to get a tortilla press, even though he loves them so much.
Honestly, I've just forgot about it and just been buying them, but go ahead.
Was it yesterday, day before? Taught you how to make your first fried bread?
And it's, yes. And what's funny is Wally ate more of that fried bread than anything I've made in the last 6 months.
You're welcome.
Fried because it's really good.
We're trying to introduce flavor into his life in a way he's never had before.
Yeah. Dipped it in red
Well, I'll do this much. I'll do this much for you, Tony, and for Johnsy. I'll get you guys' information from Rev, and I'll send you guys some powdered red chili from Hatch.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Let's go.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm still trying to convince
I'm a big Hatch person. If it's not Hatch chili, I'm probably not going to use it.
You need to come up here during the summer, dude. We got guys who import cases of the whole chilies, and they build roasters. And you'll see guys on the side of the road like hand roasting all of the chilies up here.
Well, that's where I get my stuff. There's a guy that comes in from Hatch, and he goes to Phoenix. So when I was living in Casa Grande, he would stop under one of the underpasses on Jimmy Kerr Boulevard, and he would set up and just he'd call me a week in advance. He'd call me a week in advance. He says, "Hey, for every 10 you sell, I'll give you a sack." Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. What do you do for a living?
Absolutely.
I'm a chili salesman. This week
I went from using and selling to using and selling. Just different products.
Same skill set, bro. Same skill set.
Yes, sir.
It's all by weight too.
Yeah, and they never.
Like I said,
they
exact
said we
same
never
skill
learn
set.
any transferable skills.
Yeah. So now that we're venturing into Foodland, because the wife is going to watch this, and then I'm sleeping on the couch. Would you like to inform our brothers here of the glories of EG's?
What would you guys like to know? Do you want grinders, or you just want pastrami, or do you want boring turkey? You know what I mean?
So
we can go any direction you want.
In Southern Arizona, there's a small restaurant chain called EG's, and they specialize in two major things: sandwiches, grinders, hoagies, whatever you want to call them, and then the mystical, magical shaved ice.
It's the Mexican version of Italian ice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's amazing shit.
And they do monthly flavors. And I'm not a mango kind of guy, you know what I mean? But they have once a month every year, or I should say 1 month out of the year, they do a mango flavor. But then this year they twisted it and they started adding tahini to it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tony,
Seriously?
that is how you say that word.
Tahini.
It's been about a year and a half where I've been trying to get him to say tahini properly.
Did you say Tajin?
Tajin.
Did you say Tajin, bro?
He totally did.
When he said I'm the whitest guy, he's not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
No way.
Hang on. Let me show you something real quick.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, Tony. I'm laughing with you, brother.
No, that's all right. I say a lot of stuff wrong because I just go for it. I'm just confident. In
That's
sales,
why we love you, bro.
Yeah, in sales, you have
funniest shit ever.
In sales, you just be confident in your delivery, and half the time you just convince people you're right.
But some of us are like, don't say that.
But sometimes you get caught up, man. Sometimes you get caught.
See, down here, you run across it. Sometimes you go to the stores and you can't find it. So I always keep a big bottle. It's in the kitchen. But here in my room / office / condo.
Tell me. Yes, the mini. Yeah. Hey.
I'm gonna double down on that. So I found this company. So in our house, like horror movies are a thing, right? And my wife's favorite horror movie is the Child's Play series with Chucky. So I found this seller on Etsy that makes tahini holders in horror themed material. So it's literally a thing that clips onto her purse, so she always has it with her, and it's got like Child's Play stuff all over it. So we always have that floating around. She has her little holster.
That's awesome.
I was at the. Go ahead, Johnsy.
I was on a job site one time, and this guy walks up, and he had like 5 of them, and he's like, "Hey man, everybody needs a to-go tahini," and I'm like, when am I ever going to use this tiny little bottle? And I just
can't find a big one.
No, check this out. Check this out. So one time we worked on this job site. Allegedly, after hours, we had a couple of drinks, adult beverages, and we're like, someone goes, "Oh man, I wish I had some tahini," and I go, "As a matter of fact, I got you."
How much money you got?
Yeah, it was great, man. It was great. So we all sat around and dug this stupid trench and had a couple of brewskis. It was awesome.
Yeah, man. It's like, do you live out west if you don't have 4 of those bottles floating around your house in varying sizes?
Oh, because this is the problem with Tajín is you go to the store and you're like, I know I have some, but what if I don't?
Yeah, so you can buy another one.
Yeah, so you grab the small bottle and you can, whoa, I did have the big bottle. Oh, crap. And then it just keeps going like that back and
That's
forth.
because you end up with 6 of them in your house and they're all half full because they're everywhere. Yeah.
Well, that's like going to Sears and passing the tools and be like, you know what? Do I still have that 10 millimeter or should I get another one? Because
I better grab 2 just in case.
So back in the day, some of us, being Big Nasty, probably remember this because we're old enough. But when you go to Sears and you're looking through the tool section, figuring out what you need, the salesman would go, "Here you go," and hand you like a 3/16 wrench for free. So some of us have ended up with 30 fucking 3/16 wrenches floating around our tool bags.
mine are the crescent wrenches, the miniature crescent wrenches.
Yeah, those little baby guys.
A bunch of those say Craftsman floating around the tool bags because they'd be like, "Oh, here you go, sir," as like a free sample.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah. See, I thought I was all nervous for this. This is cool.
Too easy.
Yeah.
I told you. Too easy.
No, this is all the Dude Network ever is. We're just cool.
This is
people.
what we do.
All right. I know Rev said something about tacos. I've been dying to talk about them, but I want to hear from each of you which is your favorite taco out there.
Man.
We'll start with John.
Okay, go ahead, John.
So really recently, it's been this Chipotle. It's from a taco truck, and I love taco trucks. I will die on that hill. I don't care. It's the shrimp taco. It has this amazing Chipotle sauce, and I just get it with a little bit of cilantro, that lime. Oh. Right now, that is my absolute favorite.
Yeah, keep going. I'm listening.
Oh boy. What else has he got to show off?
We're gonna hear some tinkling. He's gonna take a
What
little.
about you, What's your favorite taco right now, Tony?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I don't think it's a secret. Skirt steak fajitas, man. Like,
Dude, skirt steak is
skirt steak fajitas on some masa.
Nice.
Support your local taco truck.
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
So I got a twofer on this one. So I will have my eternal all-time favorite. So I lived in California for years, right? I lived in Oxnard in the La Colonia hood, man. And on Oxnard Boulevard, there's a place called Wynn's. And it's like a shack. It's literally a tiny-ass little white building with a picnic table outside, and that's it. You walk up the little slide window and tell them what you want. And their carne asada with cheese, deep fried deliciousness, amazing tacos. You get like 3 for $1. $5. They had the combo where you get a beer and 3 tacos for $5. That was like the last thing I ate before I left when I joined the service, and it's the first thing I ate when I came back.
Let's go.
Like the tacos at Wynn's will always have a special place in my heart. But here, I don't know if they have them down in Phoenix, but you ever been to Tapatio's? Tapatio's is like this they have like 4 restaurants in their whole chain. They have this Mazatlan like wet burrito that is amazing. It's got like
hallelujah on the web.
It's got like the shredded pork, shredded beef, shredded chicken, their house made guacamole. It's delicious, and it's like that big. So I'm a big happy fat guy after that night.
All right. Well, I gotta say, I got 2 as well. One of them was one that my mom taught me, and that's my poor man's taco, which is great seasoned ground beef with diced potatoes. It just stretches and it goes with everything.
Hallelujah. I love that idea.
Bro, that has been my breakfast go-to. Like, if you got an egg, crack an egg in there, dude, and that's the best breakfast you'll ever have in your life.
My brain just
And then my ultimate favorite, and I get them in Tucson, I get them in Phoenix. There's a chain called Guadalajara Tacos.
I know that place.
Okay.
I've been there.
Okay.
They got the best queso birria tacos.
Nice.
Ooh.
I'm telling you, you can get your regular birria tacos, but if you want it right, you get the cajeta cheese in there.
Oh,
and
yeah, dude.
And when they pull it apart, it looks, I haven't got to tell you what it looks like, but yeah, you know.
That's why they call them Big Nasty, folks.
But then they give you that consomme that comes with it, the drippings.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and the one down here, they do what they call queso birria pizza now.
Nice.
So it's like a quesadilla, but it's like this thick.
Yeah, it's like a flautas, but like huge.
And it's like the big burrito shop tortillas. You know, that 16-inch tortilla.
Yeah.
Deep fried. Yeah.
I've learned how to make that. It's probably not anything close to that, but there's a company that works with me that sends me and I'm probably butchering it. Birria. Am I saying that? Birria?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
That's the white version, but yeah, that's close.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to like overroll the R's and be like the typical Caucasian over trying.
Like Ricky Ricardo over here,
you know, and that's how it is. Hey, I'm Caucasian all over this party. I'll turn on the Jeffrey.
Hey, don't say the cock word in front of me.
Oh boy, you're getting
big nasty.
But no, with like that's a fantastic. And there's no one up here in Ohio where you can go get that, like a good authentic one. But the ones that from that seasoning's made, I was like, man, these are delicious. If I had a real good one, like, sign me up.
I'm telling you, man, you come out west, dude. We'll take you down to Mexico, show you a good time.
I'll take you to the border because I don't cross anymore.
I'm not
up at shows. I don't know.
I'm one of the few people that's been deported out of Mexico, so I'm not allowed to go anyway.
No way. That is okay. Time out. We're clipping that. That'll be a later Rev show. That's a whole yes. Put a pin in that one. Stop right there.
You ever seen in the movies? There's like that bus in Mexico where there's like old ladies and crying children and like chickens floating around. I was on that bus, handcuffed to a Federale, and they drove up to the border, and he literally dragged me off the bus and handed me to fucking Border Patrol and was like, "This is yours."
Like, we don't want
to.
Oh man.
He's so bad that even the Mexican prison system didn't want him.
Yeah.
You know it's rough when you get deported out of Mexico.
They said, President Reagan, you take him back now.
That guy from Death Valley days, man. Big Nancy knows what that is. Let's see, Johnsy, Tony, do you know what that is? What that's from?
No.
Death Valley.
You don't remember who's the president of the United States, youngster?
Ronald Dickhead Reagan.
He's
that guy from Death Valley days,
man. John Wayne.
You guys gotta watch Born in East LA.
Yes, I was like, dude, it was right there. I could not pull it out.
Well, I remember he was always like win-win for the Gipper, win-win for the Gipper.
No, so before Reagan was president, he was an actor on these old Western shows and shit. Yes. And one of them was with John Wayne on Death Valley days. So that's one of the things that Border Patrol asks you back in the day to verify your citizenship. And they'd be like, who's the president of the United States of America? So there's this movie where Cheech Marin gets the best part of that movie is how he gets deported. Yes. Because I've been in kitchens that shit has happened. So Cheech Marin gets deported to Mexico, even though he's like a naturalized citizen, but he didn't have his paperwork on him. So back in the day, what would happen was, especially in California, so say your family in Mexico has like a quinceañera or a wedding or a birthday or whatever, right? They would call immigration on themselves and get deported, which means they get a free bus ride and a free lunch on the way back to Mexico.
Let's go.
So the whole plot line of the movie is Cheech Marin gets caught up in one of these raids that they called on themselves.
Yeah,
but he's a U.S. citizen, doesn't have his paperwork, and none of these like cracker border guards believes him. So the whole movie, he's trying to get back to the state.
Yeah.
I was in Tucson, and we were at a restaurant, and similar thing happened. All of a sudden, you see these agents just come from all different directions, and load everybody up in the kitchen and the wait staff and whatnot. And when we're leaving, I asked the owner, I said, well, what happened? You know what I mean? And some guy was joking, and I took it as a joke. Come to find out it wasn't a joke. The guy said, payday's next week. He didn't want to pay him.
That's the thing, dude.
Oh,
that used to happen all the time.
Oh my gosh, dude, that is so savage.
I'd say I was working in a kitchen in Southern California, and some of the homies would do that shit. And one of my
you know what? You may get away with it in this life, man, but you got to atone to that to the next one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's so dirty, man. I don't even want that.
Enjoy that extra couple $100 because it's going to literally burn your ass.
Right.
Yep.
So I worked in this kitchen. My lead line cook, this dude we call Moco. Big Nasty knows what that means and why it's funny. Mocos, it means boogers.
Yeah, I know what mocos are.
I don't. I'm a Caucasian, remember?
I know.
Hey,
I'm a Caucasian from California, so.
But no.
Remember that sign language you were talking about, Johnsy?
Oh yeah.
Moco, this was there was a kid in my pod.
Okay.
That he went by Moco, and I used to tell people, call.
Moco.
So they'd run across the yard and they'd call him for him.
Okay.
So Moco would come up to me on like a Thursday or Friday and be like, hey, so our abuelita, there's a quinceañera and we're not going to be here. And then like that Friday afternoon, like this is before ICE. This is when they actually had immigration and shit, right? La Migra would come in. They wouldn't even fight, argue. They just fucking get in the van. And like Moco would tell me, hey, we're not going to be here this weekend. We'll be back like Tuesday. INS would deport all of them. And then Tuesday morning, they'd show up because half of them had keys to the joint. They're cleaning stuff, doing the prep and shit like nothing. Free vacation.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, let's do a comment recap real quick because there's a bunch of shout outs.
All right.
Where are we Amy says, hey y'all.
That's Beauty Queen 83 on the Big Nasty crew.
All right.
Oh, there we go right there. Hey.
There we go. Big Nasty.
Alina says, Big Nasty, you won't jump back. Mrs. Johnsy says, don't forget to hit the like button. There we go.
If you have a friend that you do not like and want to blow them up, share this to them as well.
So, then we got this one. This is an important one right here. Hey, I'm new. What kind of podcast is this? Rev, I will let you explain that.
I have a good comparison.
Xander, here on the Thursday night show on the Dude Network, Random Thoughts with the Rev is just that. Random thoughts. Whatever happens, brother.
Think Seinfeld 18 plus. It's a show about nothing.
little Doc Brown maybe thrown in there. Plenty of.
So we're basically a round room.
Yeah. Robert said a most excellent one.
Nice. And it's thing, man. There's probably some old school vintage movies and TVs that are totally offensive to everybody thrown in there for good measure.
Yeah. Hey, that's what we grew up watching though.
Hey, you know what? We grew up on like Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
The Jeffersons.
Hey,
uh-huh.
Speaking of growing up on old TV shows, tell me what I'm watching when I do this.
The Jeffersons.
No. Porn. Remember the scrambled porn channels? They used to do this to see
Channel 99, man. Spectravision.
Every now and again, you'd see a boob or something.
You
didn't
like, know that's what that was.
Yeah.
You didn't know if that was a kneecap or an elbow or a bald guy's head. But you could
It was
hear
a boob.
That was a nipple. I promise you. I promise it was a nipple.
I know it was.
Hey, on my skin, homie. Let's go.
I have a story about that. So when I was a kid in New York, when they came out with that channel, you had to call, like Cablevision was like the cable company, if you wanted to watch pay-per-view movies, right?
Yeah.
And that was the deal. And then they would turn it on for a certain time period while you wanted to watch it. So somebody screwed up and turned that channel on for 18 hours straight for like the entire town, right? So all of those kids like threw in fucking tapes and were like recording it.
Yeah,
yeah. All of me and my friends were trading the tapes like baseball cards, dude.
Just recording over your mom's Days of Our Lives videos.
Yeah, whatever. Right?
Jazzercise videos, like whatever we get a hand on.
The Jazzercise. The Mary Lou Retton Olympic trials.
You know it. Whatever.
No, the problem is when you accidentally recorded like over your older brother or sisters or whatever's like junior high graduation or whatever. You're like
their music recital, their Christmas pageant, you know, their school play. You know?
Your little brother's birth.
Yeah.
So someone asked about it. And you're like, oh, I haven't seen that in years.
We all know Big Nasty. That happened to Big Nasty. That was specific. That was a very specific.
Yeah, that was a specific.
No, and then later on, your family finds the VHS. They put it in. They're like, no, that's not what it was.
They're like, oh, that's how it happened, but that's not the end of the story.
That was the prequel to it.
Yeah,
that was the conception, not the birth. What are we doing? You know what? And we all made this mistake with VHS tapes because we all had that one that we watched way too much. So you put it in the sleeve of a different like tape. And then you almost had a stroke because one of your friends or someone went, "Hey, I want to watch that movie," and grabbed that.
or the video store calls and says, "Hey, there was a mistake in the video. You have our video, we have yours."
Yeah, Blockbuster calling you up like, "Oh, hey,
this is not Bambi."
That was her name. I swear to God, it was.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Watch the title card.
Yeah.
She left her. She left her Bob's Diner name tag on. Jesus, what more do you want?
I'm still mad at Debbie Does Dallas because that shit is false advertising.
Oh boy.
She just
Debbie
does not do Dallas.
No,
never.
True story.
She does some
true story.
Ass little middle of nowhere Texas town.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you're good.
Okay. True story. My grandparents just recently passed over the last couple of years, and we were going through the house, and
oh no way.
my adopted mom, she found an original, still in the plastic wrapper, Debbie Does Dallas video, and we were like, "What are we gonna do with this?" You know what I mean?
Dude, that's probably worth money.
Dude, I think one of my cousins took it. I'm just like, we looked it up. It was like worth $1,200 as is right now. But it had it was
in the original.
still the wrapper and everything. Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Grandpa had his groove on.
Hey,
I'm
he's
gonna
a
tell you
man
this.
too.
You know that
That's awesome.
that TikTok audio that says if grandma had plastic on her couch, right?
Go look. I did it too.
The other half really needs to say that grandpa knew what he was doing.
Yep, and it does.
That's awesome.
I'll share it with you later.
Awesome. Saying.
That's why I say when it goes to TikTok, you can look at my stuff and that. People ask, well, what kind of platform do you have? What do you got? Dude, I'm bipolar. I mean, my content is bipolar. Sometimes I'm romantic. Sometimes I'm dumb.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
so
all
we have a
hilarious, man.
question.
That's the best part. It's all good stuff.
We got a question way back from someone wants to hear a Big Nasty's favorite story with a good outcome. I think maybe they're referring to what you do professionally.
Funniest story you're allowed to tell.
That's what I'm thinking. Let me do a little pondering on this because I gotta hippify it. You know what I mean? Get it ready for HIPAA.
There's like,
yes,
You only get one
absolutely.
chance. You only get one chance to say your best ever, because then if you rescind on it, then you never really had a clear cut mess. So.
that's not true because you never know what's going to happen in the future. It might be
Well, but then you have
the best right now,
at the time, like when you
and
say
then
it,
something
that was the
ridiculous
best.
can happen next week.
Okay, here's one that I it's always on the back of my mind because it was when I first started doing peer support.
Here we go.
They used to give me clients to take to grocery shopping, and I had to teach them living skills. I teach them budgeting, we'd spend 2 hours in the grocery store to spend $80 in cash for food, you know. But I would show them the difference between name brand, store brand. But the one thing, I had this one youngster, and the whole time I did peer support and case management, he was mine. He was my first and my very last client as a case manager. So the one thing that he always told people when he would introduce me to them, oh, this is Miguel, my case manager. He's taught me one thing and I've never forgot it. And I'm just like, at first I was kind of scared because I talk to them like I talk to you guys right now sometimes.
Oh no.
So I'm like, oh, what is he gonna say?
Yeah, don't say that one. I hope.
But he literally told that person, he goes, Miguel taught me that I need to realize what my wants and my needs are in life.
Right on.
And that has stuck with me since that was the first thing I taught him. And my last day working with him, after working with him for 9 years, that was the last thing he reminded me as I was walking out the door.
That's a pretty epic one, man.
Yeah,
that's one of those like life changers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
And
only,
then
there's some things
I pissed him off a lot, but
Well, it's kind of your job.
Yeah.
You got to bring reality into the world, man.
Yeah.
People don't like that.
Yep.
because I justify what I do is as I'm a behavioral health bouncer / bounty hunter / probation officer.
Hey, straight up, that's what it takes, though.
Yeah.
Or that's what we
I've-
take.
I've-
That's what we take.
I've had to go and sit on people's houses for 2 or 3 days
Yep.
to locate them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's Mrs. Johnsy saying that's
Absolutely.
incredible. She loves it. We're both, we both have a past too. So,
You know, and that's one of the interesting things. So, like I said, I've dealt with plenty of guys in recovery, and there's 2 things right now that are really hard to cope and deal with, right? So, you got some people who are not only addicts, but they also are contraindicated because they have mental illnesses.
mm-hmm.
So, the biggest thing is they self-medicate with whatever their drug of choice is. So when they get clean and sober, that's not always a normal conversation. That's not always an easy thing to navigate because then you have to get mental health services involved. And usually there's a lot of resistance because, like, when you're talking to guys who are freshly sober does not equal sane.
No,
Okay.
in fact, it means the opposite.
It took
In
me
the
a good,
beginning.
There's 2 meanings behind recovery. You got sober and you got clean.
Yeah. Amen.
I always tell people I don't ever claim to be sober because every now and again I'll indulge in a drink,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm clean. You know, I have a
Yes,
clean date. I don't have a sober date. I have a clean date.
Exactly. I love that right there.
And that's the thing is, like, it took me a good 2 years of being completely clean and sober to have rational thought, like to be sane. And
Do you still have rational thoughts, Rev? Come on.
I have lots of rational thoughts. The problem is when I don't have the rational thoughts, and one of the big phrases in my entire existence has always been seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah. Hindsight's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
2020.
Yeah, see. So,
The other
right here,
big
here's
thing,
another one. Big Nasty taught me never to be too nervous to say whatever you want to say, even if it leaves people speechless. That's from Uncle
Nice.
Bob.
There we go.
very
Yep.
nice.
Mhm.
Uncle Brother Bob.
Uncle
Oh,
Brother
yeah,
Bob.
Uncle Brother Bob.
He from Arkansas. Oh,
Yeah, well,
That's Arkansas.
Arkansas.
the other thing, and this is what a lot of people don't realize, is the hard thing to deal with in recovery and trying to help people is like the fentanyl thing. Okay.
Oh, man, dude.
Because what you don't realize is
That wrecked everything.
when I got clean and sober like a decade ago, you'd see
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
and they get clean and sober for 6 months, a year, whatever, and they'd relapse, and it would suck, and they'd have to go through detox, but they were still alive.
Yes.
And that's the thing coping and dealing with. I have 20-year-old kids who, indulge in all kinds of shit. That's not really my business, but I'm the dad, so I make it my business. I said, listen,
Right.
You don't understand. This isn't like when I was coming up, where they're cutting things with like baby laxatives and shit. Like you're not gonna die from it.
I got diarrhea from my overdose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the difference. I knew a guy who he Pavlov dogs himself. That when he would call his dealer, and his dealer would get from a supplier that would exclusively cut with laxatives, right? So he would literally get his phone, go into the bathroom, call his dealer and be like, yo, this is how much I want, this is how much I need, and this is when I'm going to pick it up. And the guy would be like, all right, I'll be at the house. And he would automatically sit on the toilet and take a shit. Because his brain was so hardwired that he was going to snort laxatives that he would just shit before he'd go and get it. Yeah.
But
back,
see now,
back in no, go ahead.
I was gonna say now they even cut cocaine with fentanyl.
Yeah.
So you got these guys partying all night, and then they go to sleep and never wake up. It's like you don't even know what's going on anymore.
Back in 2019, before I came down here, I was doing a relapse prevention class. And this kid came in and he was just lit, you know what I mean? Just trying to chew his ear off and everything, you know. And I told him, I said, it's scary to see the kids nowadays because the dope, and this was my biggest oxymoron I've ever said. I told him, dude, you're going to think I'm stupid for saying this, but listen, I said, he's like, well, you were an addict. I said, I'm still an addict. I'll always be an addict. I'm in recovery. I said, but when I was getting high, my dope was better than your dope. And that's an oxymoron, you know what I mean? But it's like I explained to him, when I was getting high, when I overamped, and I never OD'd, and I thank God for that. But my drug of choice was meth. I was a meth head. So I overamped, but I never overdosed. So the thing about now is the stuff that they're cutting it with and mixing it with, like you said, fentanyl. That's the scariest thing in the world.
Absolutely.
And right now there's a phase of it called gray, and they're calling it death, because even the Narcan we get issued to hit people with doesn't work.
Yeah. Damn, dude. If Narcan,
I overdosed twice in my life. Once when I was a teenager, and then once when I was in my 20s. And both times they hit me with the Narcan shot. Like I still have the scar and shit. And that fucking wakes you up instantly. And like, them kids today don't have that chance. Like, it was fucking brutal and a nightmare, but I'm still alive to tell the tale kind of shit. And that's the big difference, One of the interesting things, so one of the hard things is like when you're a recovering heroin addict, right? There's not a lot of guys with a lot of time. There's not a lot of guys in recovery who are ex-heroin addicts who have like 10, 15, 20 years. It's like me and two other guys where I live.
Yeah.
So we get all of the like young heroin addicts and shit, because your brain is wired to pick up. If you relapse, you pick up where you left off. Like, that's just how your brain is wired. So like if I picked up today, I'd be dead by tomorrow. I had like 1.5 grams heroin habit a day when I quit doing dope. That would kill a normal person.
Yeah, but you can't just say, okay, well, I'm going to go back to a 20 shot. You know what I mean?
But our brains don't work that way.
No.
We're going to pick up where we left off. So I get stuck with like the young heroin addicts and shit. One of the funniest things ever, I had the sponsee who shall remain nameless. And he was like a 19-year-old heroin addict. He'd been doing dope since he was like 14. And he'd been in recovery a while. He has years now. He moved down to the valley and shit, and he sponsored the guys. And he came up here to go skiing because of the snow and shit. And I ran into him at the store, and he's like a fucking stockbroker and shit now. Like, he's in his mid-20s. I'm like, damn.
Awesome.
Like, see?
I mean, and to me, like, the American dream comes in many different ways, Like that second, like this one, people forget this is like one of the few places that you can live where you can mess up royally and you can still be a millionaire.
Yeah.
You could hit the bottom again, invent a new bottom, catch a big break, and then boom, millionaire. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
One
of the guys
it's so refreshing.
One of the guys I was locked up with, he's actually running. He's the superintendent, I guess you would call it, of a facility in Payson. I mean, that's his facility. You know what I mean? He got out, got his bachelor's, then he kept going. Next thing I know, he called me, hey, I got my master's. He's out. Hey, you want to come work for me? Come work for me. I'm like, yeah, you guys get snow up there. I'm good. I'll stay here.
You know, you feel about the snow how I feel about the heat, brother. Like, there's certain.
And I got insulation.
I understand that. I don't know how you do it. Like, when I was in the service, when I was in the Middle East, I was the fucking joke. Like, man, this is about as bad as Phoenix in July.
Yeah.
And you know what? You don't lie. You know, there's certain places you go down in the valley and you look around going, this heat has cooked some fucking brain cells. You look around the people and what they're doing. You're like, especially in traffic, dude. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep. The best thing to do in Phoenix is go and fry an egg on the sidewalk. That impresses people.
Like I said, man, my kid will straight cook a sheet pan of cookies in her back window of his car.
I love it.
140 degrees in that thing.
You want to talk about a video? There you go. Quick comment recap. John Z says, "Sorry boys, internet is messed up. It happens.
No worries, bro.
That's why we're the Dude Network. Next man up." Robert Reyes, Dude Network needs to be prime time. Great topics. I wish I had as much confidence as he does. He is our number one guy right there. I like that.
Yeah.
Always pushed me to think.
Robert's a good dude. He's always here for it. We appreciate it.
Robert is definitely the man. Damon, absolutely, Robert, on all your topics. And then Robert, on Halloween 2022, I celebrated my 15-year anniversary off narcotics. That is fantastic,
nice, brother.
Man. Good
Awesome.
for you.
Good stuff.
Let's hear about your sponsors and that sweet hot stuff, Robert.
Sponsors? I mean, like Willow Spring Seasoning?
Yeah, Willow Springs. Like, speaking of sponsors, this show does have a good sponsor, and it is Willow Seasonings. WillowSeasonings.com. Use TDN 2023 or Johnsy 2022 for 23% off until the 15th. That's Sunday. Mm-hmm. So, and then Johnsy said his clean date is 3/20/07. Congrats to Johnsy on that one. But yeah, WillowSeason.com, the Sweet Heat Seasoning. It's amazing. The Memphis Barbecue, it's my favorite. And it's also got the Colorado Gold 1859 sauce and the Sweet Thanks sauce, which I just did a phenomenal, cheap and easy, non-bread barbecue pizza on that the other day. It's so good.
Seen that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're new.
You know
yeah.
Big Nasty's a great person for this. All right. So Tony's doing this series of like struggle meals, right?
Yeah.
Like poor folk food, right?
Us poors.
So earlier this week, we got him do the fried bread. I know you got some poor people food in you. I know you got plenty of recipes for that.
Well, yeah.
Hey, we do.
I learned a couple of them from my ex-wife when we first got married. I learned that there's 7 different ways to make goulash.
Yeah.
Day after day. I always make jokes to her whenever we're civil with each other. That our first week of marriage of living together, she made 7 different macaroni surprises / goulash / something, whatever she named it. Added a different ingredient every day and just called it something else.
Nice.
I mean, I'm just the king of dump dinners, man. Like one like cast iron, I get the biggest, because my family of 4, if I fill my big cast iron up to the brim, that's enough to feed our family of 4. So it's basically like cook everything in one dish.
I'm the kind of guy that I love to cook. And here lately, over the last 2 years, I've been channeling my mom's New Mexico style recipes. You know what I mean?
Love it.
And I've done a few videos with them, but the majority of my stuff is I cook big. I don't know why. I've always learned. My mom always taught me that when you cook big, and you guys can eat it for a couple days. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like last night, I made those green enchiladas last night. You know what I mean? When I started cooking up the sauce, normally I use pork chops, but this time I found a pork loin that was amazing sale. So I got it. And it was just a lot of meat. So I had to make a lot of sauce. So I ended up making 2 trays of those enchiladas. And then I had 2 containers left of sauce. So I froze that. I'm taking that to my family in Casa Grande next week. But I make big meals and like eat it for a couple days and I freeze it and just. But when I'm making just a dump meal for myself, I hate to say it, and a lot of people are gonna think I'm crazy, but even with the amount of time I've done, I'm a top ramen guy. I will make you prison style spreads like you've never. I've had people tell me, dude, that looks like puke. I'm like, try it, and they try it. They're like, oh my god, that's delicious. I was like, no,
Bro,
that's puke. Remember?
I'll tell you this, dude. I will totally make a spread like for myself,
Mhm.
and like the first time ever I made it when my kids were cognitive, because I got a 6-year-old and 8-year-old. So I'm sitting there, they're having their chicken nuggets and French fries and stuff, and I'm eating the spread with the sopas and all the good stuff. And one of them comes up, they're like, "What's that? That looks gross." I'm like, "Try it," and they did. So now every time I make one for me, I gotta make one for them.
Like it was just crazy that of all the stuff I make, the briskets, the pulled pork, that it was the fried bread that my kid was literally stealing, and it was so good that he was stealing it from like the plate and out of the fridge, and the red sauce, which is ketchup, and he just had like this pile. He's just dipping fried bread in ketchup, man. And I was like, I looked at my wife and I'm like, fucking fried bread.
I told you, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it was funny though that because here's why we were talking so much about fried bread. I found out literally 2 days before that my grandma, who was like very poor, like there was like white trash poor, then there was like my mom's side of the family when she was a kid growing up poor, and like I guess she did big like the best fried bread ever of all time. Yeah, Rev. Like yeah, I think that's why we get along, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think you were a Wickham somewhere along the lines. But yeah, so like we were sitting there talking about fried bread, and I was like, because I want to get in touch with my mom's side of the family's heritage in my cooking, because all these meals are really just how I grew up. Like what I'm cooking is the meals that I grew up on. I just know how to make them a little bit better with all the seasonings and stuff like that and methods. But it was just cool that he was like, yeah, fried bread's like the Indian tacos. So it's like 2 different parts of the country, the same struggle meal, fried bread. And that's like the journey we were on.
Growing up for me in New Mexico, well, I was born in New Mexico, Silver City, New Mexico, and I grew up in Morenci in southeastern Arizona. So, but most of my recipes I go through are all the New Mexico style cooking and stuff. And it's similar to fried bread, but we call them sopapillas. It's just tortillas. You roll them out like tortillas, and you cut them up in quarters, and you fry it, and it makes like just puff pastry.
Yeah,
and
that's one of the best desserts you can ever have, man. A little bit of honey,
sprinkle it with a little honey or powdered sugar, or even just regular sugar with cinnamon.
Yeah.
Or you open them up and you put some savory food in them. It was basically the same thing, just a thinner version of the sopapilla, of the fried bread.
And it's literally the same ingredients, dude. It's literally flour, water, baking powder, and salt. That's all it is.
But that one you need a press for, Tony.
Yeah, I need to get. I know. And honestly, I haven't made them in so long that it's not like high on the priority. But I know I need one. I know. Because I love tortillas. Like I know I would get my money's worth out of it. You know what was crazy, Rev, on the fried bread? Last thing on that is how quick that thing cooked and blew up, man.
Yeah,
it's like instantaneous, like oof, and I'm like, well, that was cool.
So
I made a comment on your video about my roommate getting upset about the grease and stuff. And that's the thing about fried bread. It has to be cooked at a high heat. You have to wait for that grease or the lard or whatever you're cooking in to get to that temperature, because you want that poof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When Tony was doing it on the live, he just let it go. Like he turned it on high and just let it roll. And you could see the smoke coming off the grease, man. It was like, yeah.
Well, because I was working on the next one, and then you even heard me. I was like, I need to turn this down. And I get out of the comments, you're like, watch your oil, bro. That's what.
And see, here in Arizona, when you go to like the street fairs or the parades and stuff, and the natives are on the corner whipping those out like 90 a minute, you know what I mean? They got that fire just blazing, that oil's burning, and you can see the smoke rolling off of it, you know what I mean? And it's that blue smoke, and when that blue smoke is, they're throwing like 5 or 6 of those together, and as soon as they dump it, somebody's on the other side pulling it, you know what I mean? It's just
like 2 seconds in the oil.
Yeah, you're looking at these native ladies, older 80, 90-year-old ladies, and they're whipping out 500-600 in a 2-hour period. You know what I mean?
You know what's really funny is, so I used to sell those as a lunch and dinner special at a restaurant I worked at. Okay?
Dude, $5 you're stealing.
Dude, we were selling them the large ones for like $15. Navajo tacos for a dinner special. It was killing it. Our profit margin was ridiculous. And we had this one older Navajo lady. She was probably in her like late 50s, early 60s. And she's the one, like she had her one designated fryer and her bag of bluebird flour and all of her ingredients. And she'd sit there and do it. And when she's doing it, if you pay attention, and I'm sure Big Nasty, you've seen this, they bounce when they do it. Do you know why? Because of the powwows and the powwow dancers. So that's how they feed like an army of powwow dancers. So literally they're bouncing to the drums, and this chick had been doing it for so long. That's just how her brain worked. Like
just the natural rhythm.
She'd be making a fry bread to the beat of the drum in her head. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I marched to the weird sound in the back of my head. So.
Yeah, me too. And it was funny. She'd be in the middle of making like 5 or 6 of them at once, and I'd lean back and be like, "Hey, you're bouncing again," and she would just start laughing.
You're like, "I don't hear no music."
Yeah, at least get some music in here. I
would tell you this. So if you've been up here and you put on the radio station 88.1, you know what that is? That is the Hopi radio station that gets broadcasted from K-Town on the Hopi Reservation. Okay? So as everyone knows, my wife is Native American. That's her reservation, right? That radio station is one village over. Like, we drive past it when we go to see her grandma and shit. So every now and again, when she goes to work, she listens to, the indigenous music. On occasion, I've had to borrow her car to go to work. The last thing you want to hear at 12:30 at night, cranked up to 11, is Cree war music. Tony doesn't know what that. I'll send you a video later, Tony.
Oh, I can't wait.
Like Native American war drums and screaming.
Yeah, sometimes like Rev will send videos, and Rev, like, you probably realize this. I let it build up to about like 6 or 7, because then it's like I'm like waiting for a bad spot in my day. I'm like, I got all Rev's messages. I'm like through my videos, like, haha. Look how much fun I'm having now. Like, this day's great now. Thank you, Rev. Yeah, I can't wait to get that one. I'll stockpile it,
See,
I do the same. I do the same thing with TikTok. I mass send people, and I'm the king of blind reacts. I send people to do blind reacts all the time. Thing of it is, I do them too, but I get decent numbers, and I'm not a number guy. I don't really care about numbers.
Yeah.
But like, I've had a couple people, I send them, and like 2 days later, like, dude, I just hit 1.5 million views. I'm like, really? I get like maybe 20,000. That's my top, but you getting millions?
Yeah. That's a wild world.
But I don't do this. My family is always like, hey, are you going to get paid for TikToks? Why not? You can make money. I'm like, yeah, but then it's a job.
Yeah, and then you're going to hate it.
I do it for my mental. I mean, my shenanigans and tomfoolery, that's my therapy. I mean,
everybody's got their own. That's what's great about social media on the positive side of things, is like there's a lot of different ways of finding positive and happiness in it. Whether it be, you get lucky, you come up with a concept that you absolutely love doing and sharing with everybody that leads to so many views that you can make a living off of it. Or there's people, it's like, I just need a happy place. And there's some people that are like, it's like their secret happy life. You know, no one knows they have one. They're like user number 6359er, you know, and then they're like just sneaking out, like out when we're out in the garage having a beer or getting something out of the freezer, like watching a few TikToks or something. That's what's cool about social media on the happy place. Is my point is like it's a lot of different ways to find, you know, the good in it, you know, because I think there is a lot of good. If you keep it good, your algorithm stays good, and you like watch videos that you're literally interested in, like, you know, there's some pretty cool stuff on there too. A lot of BS too, but yeah, I think you have to kind of go looking for it.
I got one of my cousins, this fool, she always sends me stuff like cats and weird stuff that's gonna affect my algorithm. And next thing I know, I'm getting just nonstop cat videos. I'm like, really? Why me?
I'm gonna start doing that to people. Why'd you give me an idea, bro?
You know what's funny is he's actually still saying that out loud while I know his cell phone is right beside him, and I'm not going to say that out loud. But you're welcome for the rest of your videos on TikTok the rest of the night, bro.
It don't bother me none, you know what I mean? But the one thing I think Rev's seen it, my crew and a bunch of us on that run in my circle or whatever, we rickroll the hell out of each other.
Sure do. That's a thing.
Man, me and Josh, we call him Shavar.
Yeah.
That fool, we're always sending videos, and I know he cheats, and I think he's watching this tonight, but I know he cheats. He doesn't blind react to everything I send him because he proofreads it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he'll come back like, oh, I already seen that. Yeah, because you just watched it, fool.
Yeah.
But we're constantly rickrolling, and then now people are even like, they'll send something like, for instance, they know I get a regular person that always sends me rickroll stuff, so I'm kind of testy about what I open. But then they start sending other people that they know we're friends with, and somebody that's never sent me a blind react sends me a blind react, and it's like rickroll. So I'm like, I'm a target, you know what I mean? But I enjoy it. That's fun for me.
That's kind of
absolutely. Thing, right? And speaking of fun, it's fun. I got fun news. We got John Z back.
Yay!
Yeah.
Sorry, fellas. It's a struggle tonight for some reason.
Did you have to run down and pay for the internet in the little box?
No, it ain't that bad, man. It's been raining. It's been raining like today's the only day it hasn't rained, and it's been nuts. So like, California's having all these BS intermittent problems with power and the internet, and this. It's just dumb. So I apologize.
Dumb.
You know, before the show, we were talking about this, and I looked at Big Dad and said, listen, you're going to hear some kids screaming, you're going to hear some dogs barking, and we're going to have technical difficulties because it wouldn't be the Dude Network show if that shit didn't happen.
And usually the tech guy doesn't have them, so I apologize for being a problem child tonight.
That's the best
part. It's the smart guy that was having problems.
It was my turn, I guess.
Yeah.
So worst moment ever, and I gotta go help the wife get these kids in bed after this. So technical difficulties, ultimate fail. When I used to do like a lot of the one-on-ones when it was just me and my guest, there's ones I had Earl Little Sr. on, and he was played for the Cleveland Browns, and his son just signed with the University of Alabama, like Earl Little Jr. And my internet kept going out, so I'm on a one-on-one with like my biggest guest I've ever booked, like this guy that was like an 8-year NFL veteran, and this dude got stranded on a lonely island 3 different times during this interview.
Just staring off in the space.
Hanging out like, all right, I go back and watch, and he's just sitting, he's like, oh, hopefully he's back. We'll give him a couple minutes here. And this guy's leading the podcast.
I gotta go back and find that one.
Oh man, dude, it was so bad. But Big Nasty Man, you're I know I just recently got introduced to your page. Dude, you're a beacon of positivity, man, and I'm all in.
Thank you. Hey, before you leave, I got something I gotta say.
Okay, yeah. Please.
And I'm not picking on you, but I'm kind of picking on you.
Well,
but
I'm white. It's cool. I'm owed a few.
My lady's a ginger, so be nice to gingers, especially at Walmart.
Ooh, let's
telling you right now, if your lady ever works at Walmart, I ain't gonna like her.
No, you ain't got to worry about her working at Walmart, but she is a beautiful ginger. So
I love it.
What Big Nasty is referring to will be clip live.
And-
Look at that! Yeah, hey,
network.
she is a million times better looking than that Shrek looking dude that I work with.
Once again, I would like to formally apologize from all of us at the Dude Network to our sponsor, Redbeard Seasonings. Tony does not represent the feelings of everyone on the Dude Network.
Thank you, because Brad was in here. I'm not sure if he still is. I hope he's still watching, but
I hope he is too. Actually,
the ginger hate. The ginger. I get if he left early. I get it.
So
Brad,
I was talking with him. Like so we did that cook together, and we had dinner together last week because I was working close to his house. And we were arguing about something. I'm like, what are you mad about? I was like, you ain't got no soul. I was like, what the hell do you have to worry about, man? And I was like, and he's just
I've been dying since I seen the show with Claude on here, Claude Joker. I've been dying to say the ginger thing. So
I was waiting for it. Dude.
I love that you remembered it and brought it up, man. I'm glad that somebody made it that far in that show.
Yeah. And before you leave, I want to thank you for making it possible for me to be on here. I'm totally enjoying it.
Dude, man, this is all. Anytime, man. Yeah, Rev has done an absolute fantastic job. I mean, he's a man of many interests, and we know any of his friends are going to be interesting like him. You're definitely qualified on that one. Blessed that you were able to come here and share your night and from some time from your family and friends here with us, man. Thank you so much, Rev. Killer job, man, as always.
Thanks, brother.
John
Appreciate it.
You guys all have a good night. I'm not going to remove myself. John Z, can you please? I want to remove myself from the broadcast.
Last time Tony did this, he ended the broadcast.
I got you, Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he did it. He did it. He did it.
Beat feet, Tony. Just beat feet.
He did it. He did it.
I just had to stand up for the gingers because my babe is ginger baby 76.
Hey, my dad, my two sisters. I got red in my beard. We all felt it a little bit.
Bro, I'm half Irish, man. Like my
That's what I'm saying.
from the old country.
Rev,
like,
stop it.
Like you're talking to the wrong guy.
Hey, I'm
fighting Irish pride, man.
By default.
No, I know, but you're Calabrian. Are we gonna get any more related?
John's my little cousin. We just haven't figured out how yet.
Exactly.
Okay, so if you guys ever meet in person, the first thing you guys got to do is yell "Primo," and that's it.
Of course.
I'll record it and send it to you first.
So here's a question for you, brother.
That day might be happening sooner than later, Rev. Menthols are getting short around here.
So you're from Southern Arizona. You have one of the most interesting shopping experiences possible that me and the wife talk about quite often.
I'm intrigued.
Me too.
You know what the Dirt Mall is? The swap
meet.
The Dirt Mall, man.
Swap meet
down in Tucson.
Ooh, that's Mexican Hollywood right there.
No shit.
Hey, dude, it's probably nothing close, but we got a banging one.
I like this, bro. Here. Like you can get your hair cut, drink a beer, get tacos, buy a whole leather suit and shit.
You're talking about the Palo Verde swap meet.
You know it, man. The Dirt Mall.
How often does?
Every Saturday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Every weekend. Legit, every weekend.
He froze.
Yeah, I bet we lost him again.
He said, Andy's coming.
Uh-oh. But yeah, dude, like, that's one of the most, like, I think everybody needs that life experience at least once, dude. Yeah. Like, they need to go to the Dirt Mall in Tucson.
Hey, this is a story about my family and the swap meet. My Uncle Tony, God rest his soul, he just passed this past September, but growing up, that was his thing. We'd come to Tucson, we'd always go to the swap meet to find him, you know what I mean? And let him know we were in town. But when my grandfather passed away in New Mexico, he had all the stuff from like the cast iron wood burning stoves and all the old stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he told my mom, he says, you know, I really didn't have the greatest relationship with my dad, but I'd like to have all his stuff, you know, from his shop and all this stuff. So my mom's like, cool, whatever. 2 weeks later, we show up to town. We're in town, and he's selling that shit at the damn swap meet.
Fucking selling it at the dirt mall, huh?
Yep. I'm like, really? But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It was his to do what he wanted.
Sure. But like I said, that's like one of the most amazing shopping experiences a human being can have.
A churro and a Bud Light all at the same time.
I'm just saying, man, you get a haircut, get a Bud Light, some
new clothes, a new alligator belt.
You know, a big old belt buckles. You can get like 3 hubcaps from a Trans Am, some cassette tapes and shit. Oh,
dude,
yeah.
I ain't lying. The last time I was there, I seen a guy with that big belt buckle.
Yeah.
And he flipped it down, and it was a beer holder.
That's epic.
I was like, really? That's some shit right there.
That is some shit, right? I've seen guys who've had like 22s, like little handguns in them, lighters, like pocket knives and shit. That's the thing.
One-hitter quitter pipes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Those my favorite though has to be the boots, man. That is like the funniest shit ever. Like living in SoCal, going to high school in like the barrio and shit. Hey,
I heard. I got a text from John Z, and I just got upstairs. I looked at her, and I was like, "Sorry, babe." I was like,
so
sorry about that. I blame California per usual.
Sure.
But yeah.
Like that's why I tell people don't California my Arizona. Just stay away.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Go ahead, Rev. My bad.
You know, like growing up in a bar, living in the barrio and shit in California, you're going to plenty of quinceañeras. I have a cool story about one of those, by the way. I'll get to it in a minute. The boots, man, the boots you find at the dirt mall are amazing. Ostrich skin with the big.
But see, people's feet are not formed like this.
No shit. The cockroach.
And that's how you gotta wear those boots. That's what your toes look like. Just
I know.
I mean, talking about ingrown toenails, man. That's the most painful.
Yeah.
Ingrown toes, bro.
Yeah.
That's toe. You ever heard of the band?
Take my big toe. Take my strong toe.
Yeah, exactly. You ever heard of the band Metalachi?
Yes.
I want to.
They play up here like every 6 months, dude.
You're the one that got me into listening to that.
That's my fault, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all your fault.
You're welcome.
He does a lot of things for
Thank you.
So we should explain what this is to Tony. It's like a heavy metal band that plays mariachi music.
Mariachi. It is gruesomely interesting.
It really is.
Awesome.
It's one of those you could be passing by it and it would grab you by your beard and like it's a hair. It's a head jerker.
Yeah. They
And then you walk away 30 minutes later thinking, why did I waste 30 minutes of my life doing that?
Yeah, but then you're listening to it like on the way to work in the morning and shit. Like it's one of those things. So I'll tell you my favorite quinceañera story ever. So when I was in high school, I dated this young lady, and she's like, "Oh hey, there's a quinceañera at my grandmother's house." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And like, so I show up in the barrio. I am the white guy there, right? And so I'm helping out the Aunt Tias and Abuela, and, you know, in the kitchen, cleaning up and being all. And her like 900-year-old abuelita gives me a hug, and is like, mind you, I'm getting like the death stare from every Sereno in there, like nothing but tan sandals, tall socks, shorts, white beaters, the Virgin de Guadalupe on the throat, tattoos, and you know who I'm talking about. And she's like, Mijo, what can I call you? Thank you so much. And I look at all these homies and I'm like, oh, you can call me Cracker.
Oh my God.
Bro, especially when we moved in, because like the grandma's house was like 3 doors down from the house me and my homies rented when we moved in, right? And the second I moved in, anytime we'd be like going to the store or walking around the neighborhood, whatever, you'd hear all of her little cousins and everyone in the neighborhood. There goes the crackers.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. No, all good stuff, man.
Tony's feeling so white right now.
I even referred to myself. I mean, at least I'm honest, and like I had a real honest, like, you know, like the typical, like, oh, I think like my grandma had some Cherokee in her, and I told like Rev, I was like, I think I was told my grandma had some Cherokee in her, but I think I'm like Elizabeth Warren status in my generation at this point. So I was like, I'm not gonna
187% Cherokee Native American.
Yeah,
Indian.
so like I claim my Native American heritage as loosely as I claim my, I don't even know, like my ability to stick to being a vegan. I don't know. Like,
yeah. And see, this is like a 100% white person thing. When you say, so where are you from? What are you? What genetics do you have? And they start rattling off percentages.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, you don't see like an African American being like, well, I'm like 10% Ghana, you know, 20%, 30% Algeria. Yeah.
There's not
and
a
then
lot
Then the Spaniards did come through the country, so there's some Spaniard in there.
Yeah. Like Egyptians made a big push once upon a time, so there's some Egyptian in there. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you don't hear a lot of that in like the Native American or Latino community. There's not, well, I'm 175th Portuguese and 197th Spanish. You don't hear that shit. Like ever.
And see, like myself, everybody always tells me, like, where's your family from? You know what I mean? I'm just like, what are you talking about? Where was your grandfather from? I said, well, he was born in Mexico. But see, I never realized till I got older that when a Mexican from Mexico asks you, you know, what tierra is your grandfather from, is like, where's dirt?
Yeah. Where you from?
I didn't realize there's like Sonora, Chihuahua, there's
Sinaloa.
all kinds of different states. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm like, Mexico. That's all I knew was Mexico. You know what I mean? I learned to speak Spanish because my grandfather refused to speak to me unless I spoke to him in Spanish. And I'm thankful for that. I could tell my grandfather when I was a kid, hey, the house is burning. And if I said it in English,
the house is not burning yet. Yeah.
No, it was not burning yet. You know what I mean? But
you know,
I thank him for that. But as far as like culture goes, I love my culture. I'm learning more and more as I get older. But yeah, I'm some people in my family have called me a coconut because I'm Mexican, I'm Hispanic, but
brown on the outside, white in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
and plus my choice in women are white. I mean, I've dated a couple Mexican girls, but they scare me.
Yeah, they scare me too when I married one.
They're dangerous.
The chanclas, bro. You got to be good at bobbing and weaving. Tony, those are sandals that when you upset a Latina woman will throw at you like a ninja star.
I was laughing because I was going to throw. Like, yeah, woo, yeah.
My mom was like the 1976 champion at throwing them because
like
she could take corners. She could take corners with that chancla.
Like that movie Wanted where they're bending the bullet. Yeah. Hit you around corners in the other room and shit. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell you this. If you're starting to get into like your Mexican heritage and all of that, there's one experience that I personally think you need to have, and I'm trying to get the wife to do it, but she's kind of leery about it. If you ever get the chance on Dia de los Muertos, go down to Mexico and check out the ofrendas. See how they actually, and I don't mean like Tijuana or Nogales. I mean, go into the heart of Juarez or like Sinaloa and go to like Culiacan and actually see what that's about, man, because that is a beautiful experience. You know?
And see, that's my thing is when it comes to Dia de los Muertos, that's where my ink is. Most of my ink is all Dia de los Muertos because that's my culture is my life. You know what I mean? I started learning more about it and studying it and making it part of my life so I could pass it on to my family. And that's one of my goals too. You know what I mean? Notre Dame was my first goal, my bucket list, and I got that finally. Second is watching the Notre Dame game in-house.
In the stadium. Yeah.
In the stadium.
If you get the chance, go to the church. Did you go to the church?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When we went, okay, well, when we showed up there, one of my friends on Facebook, his name's Tim, the whole time we were part of this thing called Legion of Leprechaun. It's all about the football team.
Yeah.
And so we got to talking, and he's like, I told him, I said, I'm headed up there and probably going to hit the university. So he gave me his information. He says, if you're in South Bend, call me. He says, I work for the university. So I'm thinking he's a vendor or maybe a contractor or something. No. He was an electrician for the university.
Nice.
So the day I went on campus, he took us where nobody gets a regular tour. I mean, I was in the government, I was in the educational buildings, I was everywhere. I was up in the Heisman Trophy winner press box, and just it was amazing.
So if you get the chance, if you go to mass in the church, right next to Notre Dame, they play the fight song during the mass. Yep. One of the interesting things, my aunt, big into food service, and she's retired now. She's in her late 60s. But when I was a kid, she was a kitchen manager at this bar and grill in Pennsylvania, right? And the guy who owned the joint had a master's degree from Notre Dame. So the entire bar, it was my first experience in an industrial kitchen. I was probably like 9 or 10. It was nothing but Notre Dame gear, man.
Yeah. And I mean, when me and Mary, my lady, we got together, it was cool that she was from up there, but I didn't realize that she's like an hour away from the campus. You know what I mean? So that was always her mindset, was to get me there. And it was, I mean,
that's awesome.
It was amazing. The night before when I got to South Bend, it was raining and big old thunderstorms, and I kind of depressed me. I'm like, damn, weather's gonna ruin my trip, dude. The next morning I woke up, it was like 76 degrees. It was still overcasted. But it was meant to be for me to be walking on that campus. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
The whole place was amazing. It was probably one of my. It was like walking on heaven on earth for me. You know what I mean?
The grass was greener and it was softer. Yeah,
dude, that whole place is like sculpted. And they had, when I was there, every year they plant one color tulip is the main floral color, right?
Yeah.
This year it happened to be orange, so there was orange beds of tulips just blooming everywhere. It was beautiful. And the one thing I will say, South Bend's lucky that I was there and I was feeling holy, because if not, there was so many Notre Dame memorabilia on people's lawns that I wanted to take home.
Things that could have disappeared real quick.
Yeah. But I couldn't have brought it back on the airplane, so.
Postal Service will deliver.
Thing, man. If it ships, it fits. If it fits, it ships. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that their floral colors were orange, because you know what the standard color for an ofrenda is, right? You know what an ofrenda is, right? So
ofrenda isn't like the offering to on the Night of the Dead or something like that.
So in Mexican households on Dias Los Muertos, you have an ofrenda, and it's to honor your relatives who have passed on. That's the big thing about Day of the Dead. That's what it's for.
Right.
So,
okay.
Encanto, the movie Encanto on Disney actually goes over a really good 3,000 foot overview of this. So that's how I know that.
So one of the big things is, you know, you put up pictures of your relatives and people who passed on, and you like make them dinner and you give them some coffin cakes, as like the cookies and shit. And orange marigolds are like a big deal about that. That's what you decorate your ofrenda with, is orange flowers. So that's pretty.
Oh, being educated. That's
Coco.
awesome.
Coco.
That's
My
pretty
bad.
cool.
The movie Coco.
Oh,
That's what-
Coco. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a good
one.
That's one of the things that we kind of started doing, is because, you know, in our house, we're big into the heritage, where we're all from, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, our son is going to rule the world because he's Irish, Italian, Mexican, and Native American. So he's going to rule the world one day. It's going to
And
happen.
he's going to be the most stubborn individual in the history of the planet.
What do you mean gonna be? He's 6. You try getting him to take a shower.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
I know that with Mary, she was I think she learned something about me on that trip. Is I'm probably the only Mexican Chinese tourist she ever met, because if it was a bug that made itself look like a clover leaf on the windshield, I took a picture of it. You know what I mean? It was just everything was like. I even went and bought an SD card for my phone just to make more space.
Nice.
I love it.
One of the cool things you can check out. So the Irish have a very interesting history with Mexico. Okay. You check out this song. It's called St. Patrick's Battalion. So during the Battle of the Alamo, there's a bunch of Irish immigrants who came to the East Coast at the same time. And one of the big things was, well, if you're going to be a citizen, you have to go fight for the cavalry. You have to fight for the blue coats, the U.S. infantry and shit, right? So they sent a bunch of them straight to Texas to fight in the Battle of the Alamo, right? Well, they started looking around and seeing what was going on, and they crossed the lines and changed sides. So there's a bunch of, like, Irish guys who fought on the Mexican side of the Alamo, and they called themselves the St. Patrick's Battalion.
How'd that work out for him?
Pretty good. They won the fucking battle.
Yeah.
After that, though.
Well, just for that day, they were winners.
We're still eating tacos and making babies. So, I mean, probably pretty fucking good. Saying.
That's crazy.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
But yeah, let me get a chance, and like I said, I'll get with Rev, and I'll get you guys some chili. I'll
man, I'll do the ultimate collab, man. I'm dying to make some actual green chili.
There's going to be plenty of like text messages and phone calls to make sure it goes smoothly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'll have a Pinterest pulled up as merely a reference point if you're not there and available to bail me
Just so
out.
I can make fun of you for a week straight about that.
Listen, man.
That was the thing. He was making the fry bread, and he had Pinterest on his phone, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
I didn't know he was available. I didn't know he was on there.
Real quick, I know some states it's hard to get good green chili, but I always tell everybody, and I should ask for sponsorship from these people, but I don't, and I might. But there's a company out of Hatch, New Mexico. They're called Young Guns Chilies. You can Google it. And that is some of the most authentic. It's already roasted, processed, and packaged, and it's like $8 or $9 a bottle. But they have the green chili, and they have the roasted green chili, and then they have the red sauce too, the red chili sauce.
They come in half gallons, those little mini half gallons. We have like 6 of those in our cabinet right now, bro.
That's awesome.
Young Guns is it. Or the 505 out of New Mexico too. There's 2 different brands of chili, but if you can't get fresh, that's the next best thing.
Next best thing, baby.
There we go.
Absolutely.
So anybody out there that heard that, tell Young Guns, Big Nasty's looking for sponsorship. You know what I mean? Just throw it out there. I don't even need money. Just send me chili.
Just send me some chilies.
Send me some chilies.
Yeah.
That'll cut your budget, your shopping budget in half right there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
That's where I'm at on everything. If Idahoan Instant Mashed Potatoes got a hold of me tomorrow, send it. I'll eat Instant Mashed Potatoes.
My roommate, he's a great guy. He wants to always cook, and he likes mixing up salsas and getting different kinds of salsas. And he's always asking me, "Hey, I got these ghost peppers. You want some?" I'm good. I'm a Hatch chili guy. That's what I cook with, Hatch chili. I did the 1 chip challenge one time.
That
never
was
again.
Brutal. You can look it up on his page. There's a video of him and another gentleman doing the 1 chip challenge.
It was me, Big Happy. We were in Scottsdale. So my lady came in from Indiana. And then TC was on a live with us in Georgia doing it. And we all did that 1 chip challenge. No.
No, sir.
Dude, you could watch the pain come over these guys. It was brutal.
That's funny.
Dude, the tears that were coming out of my eyes, they were going halfway down my cheek and slapping me. They were just like, you're stupid.
It was bad.
It was ridiculous, dude.
Quick comment recap. We're going to wrap this up here. John Z said, please apologize to our guests for me. So John Z has said,
no apologies necessary, John Z.
Yeah, John Z's third. Yeah, let John Z know that it's okay, so we can. And then Italian mothers are the same. And then thank you, Big Nasty. Also, John Z said, and as always, Dude Network did surpass expectations. Yeah, Rev is doing a great job bringing some really awesome guests in here, like you, Big Nasty. We have a live show tomorrow night with comedian Tyler Ray Kendrick out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He's been funny before. And glad to have him back on, and God knows whoever else will pull on between then and now. And then just another foodie show on Sunday with Kevin, Big K's Barbecue, with co-host, with main host Johnsy and co-host Damon. So looking forward to those 3 shows. Big Nasty, thank you again, man. Keep it rolling, keep it positivity flowing, man. We appreciate you. We love you.
Where can we find you on social media?
Yeah.
Oh, me? You can find me at Big Nasty with an I, not a Y, _ AZ75. That's my TikTok. And anything else, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, but really don't do too much of all that stuff. But my main focus right now is TikTok. So, like I said, it's Big Nasty, all one word with an I _ AZ75.
All right.
And thank you guys, and thank everybody who tuned in. I did promote it, and I'll continue to promote you guys. I like this. I like it. You know what I mean? So.
Thank you, man. We like that you like it.
Thanks again for showing up.
We like that we like the time that you spent with us here, Big Nasty. We appreciate you, Rev. I appreciate you, and Johnson. We appreciate you and your bad internet. We'll see you guys next time.
Stay nasty, y'all.
Peace out.